Here we go again. I know. There are people living under the sea, and I've got theories at the bottom of my garden.
Okay, you can laugh. But someday I'm going to prove it, and it may be sooner than you think.
Although humanity had occasionally tangled with members of the underwater races before, most notably during the incident that injured Sam Shaw, it's clear from this dialogue in the opening episode of Stingray that such instances were rare. And it wasn't until the Stingray crew's investigation of the destruction of the World Security Patrol vessel Sea Probe that their existence was confirmed. It's unclear whether the attack on Sea Probe was merely the first stage in a planned campaign of aggression against humanity, or if the vessel just simply strayed into enemy territory. But the incident brought the Stingray crew face to face with one of their most fearsome foes.
I am Titan, leader of the underwater city of Titanica.
Titan's name is feared and respected among the underwater community, and he commands one of the largest and most militaristic forces yet encountered by man.
Titan very angry!
Titan's power also extends beyond Titanica itself and includes dominion over many other underwater races that he has conquered over the years. Although in the master plan, we learn that Titan's conquest of those races is dependent on having them sign a treaty with him.
Why do races whom I have conquered refuse to renew their treaties with me?
And that those races can refuse to renew those treaties if they are unhappy with his performance.
When the leaders of our satellite cities hear of this, I will be the laughing stock of the underwater races.
Titan himself rarely leaves Titanica, and is usually to be found brooding in his throne room, often hatching new and even more deadly schemes to get revenge on the Stingray crew, or to disrupt life on the surface world.
I give the orders, you think of ways to carry them out.
Occasionally, his schemes can be more insidious than just a straightforward attack, as witnessed by his plot to lure the entire Stingray crew back to Titanica in the master plan, or by his efforts to take over Hudatvia in Eastern Eclipse,
Thus giving us our first foothold on the land masses.
by reinstating El Hudat as the country's puppet prime minister, a scheme that he estimated would have seen a quarter of the land masses fall under his control within just 3 months.
All my dreams of victory are about to come true. Stingray!
The failed takeover of Hudatvia showed that Titan was more than willing to work with human agents to overthrow humanity itself, and nowhere was this more clearly demonstrated than in his meeting with kidnapped pop star Duke Dexter in the episode Titan Goes Pop.
Who is Duke Dexter?
Having misunderstood the screaming, frenzied reaction of Dexter's fans whenever he appeared in public, Titan warmly congratulated the baffled heartthrob on causing such chaos, and promptly returned him home, remaining convinced to this day that he had found an ally in his ambition to drive humanity insane.
What a wonderful weapon he is for us. If he keeps this up, they will be ready to be conquered in no time at all.
Despite these brief and usually misjudged alliances, Titan employs a network of surface agents whose loyalty is unquestionable, even if their ability isn't exactly 100%.
I must be crazy working for Titan.
In the television series, we only ever meet Agent X20, who lives in a rundown house on the island of Lemoy near Marineville. But from his activities, we can assume that the rest of the network are all also underwater aliens disguised as human.
This makeup will make my green skin flesh color just like the land creatures.
The fact that X20 was already stationed on Lemoy prior to the Stingray crew's first encounter with Titan suggests that perhaps he had been gathering intelligence on humanity for some time prior to the first episode.
There's no doubt about it, I'm really onto something big.
Titan maintains his grip on his underwater territories with a fleet of mechanical fish, vessels which can at first appear like a large conventional fish until they open their jaws and open fire. A large fleet of these craft is stationed at Titanica, with one on permanent standby. At the controls of each mechanical fish, often referred to as a terrafish in spin-off media and merchandise, are a crew of 2 aquamphibians, a race of underwater alien bipeds who serve as Titan's soldiers.
You understand what has to be done? Good.
They too are absolutely loyal to their leader, and their attacks against unsuspecting victims can often be swift and brutal. Despite this, the aquamphibians are also among the least intelligent aliens ever encountered by the Stingray crew, which often proves to be their undoing. We can assume that members of other races are also at work within the city of Titanica, although we only ever meet 2 of them during the show's run.
She is my slave.
One of these was Marina, the voiceless, tailless mermaid rescued from a life of slavery by the Stingray crew in the first episode.
Thanks, Marina.
The other is Sculpin, seen only in the episode The Golden Sea, where he demonstrates his latest invention to Titan.
This sound will attract the giant Gargan whenever we want him, Your Majesty.
Much like X-20, Sculpin appears extremely loyal to Titan, although he's even quicker to panic under pressure.
He'll smash us to pieces!
One other notable resident of Titanica resides in Titan's throne room, specifically in a fish tank on the wall. Teufel is described by Titan as
Our great sea god.
although the true extent of this apparent deity's godhood remains unclear. The only real power he ever demonstrates is his ability to release the toxic vapors of a plant in Titan's throne room, but he is also used to judge whether alien visitors to Titanica are friend or foe.
Don't worry, Terranian. You will be given a fair trial.
As part of such a trial, Troy Tempest gets to be on the receiving end of Teufel's vacant stare in the show's first episode.
Captain Troy Tempest of the World Aquanaut Security Patrol. You and your crew have been found guilty.
Where he discovers that those whom Teufel declares an enemy are often taken to another of Titan's cities, the underwater prison complex of Aquatraz.
Nice people, they only bother with the big fish. You get convicted and we both get the sentence.
While all this may seem a somewhat inefficient system of dispensing justice, Titan's faith in Teufel is absolute and unswerving, and he seems to be the only person, or fish, that the underwater despot has any genuine respect for. Located close to Titan's throne room are several smaller rooms, including a communication center and an operations room, from which he can do everything from monitor the latest mechanical fish attack on Stingray to overseeing the launch of conventional rockets capable of striking land-based targets.
It can cause no damage. We hope.
The rest of the city comprises at least a dozen more buildings, all linked via a network of interconnecting travel tubes.
Stingray! I will personally supervise its destruction from my underwater craft.
Aside from the mechanical fish fleet, and discounting Agent X-20's own personal submarine, the only other Titanican vehicle we see during the course of the series is Titan's personal craft, from which he plans to watch the Gargan destroy Stingray in the Golden Sea.
It's Titan!
Basically a blue sphere mounted on top of an engine, the craft appears to have no weapons, since Titan is powerless to fight back when the Gargan turns on him instead. It does, however, come with some very nice cushions and a bowl of fruit, suggesting that perhaps the vessel is an underwater equivalent of a royal yacht, built to allow Titan to watch his enemies be destroyed in comfort.
I am impatient to watch Gargan destroy Troy Tempest.
Although the majority of Titan's attacks against his Terranian enemies have mostly involved a single mechanical fish, this underwater tyrant is not to be underestimated. Unlike many of the opponents faced by the Stingray crew, Titan and those under his command would be capable of attacking in devastating force if provoked.
It's just a matter of time, X-20.
And the world government are relying on the World Aquanaut Security Patrol and Stingray to ensure that that never happens.
Only Marineville stands in our way of a great and glorious victory.